And here we go, my single least favourite boss in the entire game. It's Operation 002C, and like, I just cannot stand this boss. I mean, first off, we have to beat up Notorie. I'm assuming that's kind of having a little play on the idea of notorious. Either way, it's our first thing to defeat, and thankfully it's really not that difficult. Basically, you just need to kind of beat on it, and unfortunately, whenever it does this red thing, you can't use your Unite morphs, so just kind of attack everything, and it'll work out just fine. Now, if you want to get through this particular section very, very, very quickly, honestly, just use the wonders that are Unite Hand, because you're going to get through that quicker. Also, that was the Ukemi. Do not expect to see too many of those happening, because, yeah, I'm not that good enough to be able to pull them off. Essentially what it is that I think you have to press jump either just before you land, or just after you've taken damage. I'm really not sure of the timing at all, but either way. Basically, you just need to avoid the lasers, which is easier said than done, I'll admit, freely, but otherwise, it's relatively simple. Because the Dogus aren't going to do a whole lot to you. They're pretty pointless, really, in the grand scheme of things. But if you probably guessed, that wasn't the boss fight. We fought something a lot more epic the last time. Yeah, Blue, I don't think you want to be celebrating just yet, mate. I have to say, I'm questioning this too. Where is the Badaboom? I have to agree with Pink on this one. Green, just chill out a little bit, dude. We don't quite need that here. But yeah, look who it is. It's the Joy of Joys himself. But he has got a Kofun for an arm now. Wonderful. It's what I always wanted. Gagujin equipped with Kofun assault landing ship. Because it's evidently what we desperately need to be facing right now. Smooth, dude. Smooth.
Initiate tower demolition and earthling purge. Commencing.
We have to defend the tower from that gargantua.
Yes, we do. I really like that line. I didn't realise how much I liked that line until I just heard it again, but the impossible is possible when you're wonderful, baby. That's one of the corniest things I've ever heard, but also one of the most beautiful things that you can say before doing a boss fight. It fits into the flock off Featherface territory of things. So, our fight with Gagujin. Basically, you probably noticed that there is a health bar on the bottom right hand of the screen. Yeah, that health bar is for the tower that you're standing on, and if that health bar goes to 0, then that's game over, and you are going to need to continue. However, something that the game doesn't tell you, and it really, really, really should, is that if you Wonderliner the things that the electric bits that kind of become available when it gets hit, you can heal the tower. I don't quite know why. Sometimes it doesn't seem to work, which is bizarre, but it's just a very frustrating mechanic, especially when this Git is attacking you so much. And especially because, I mean, the first time that I ever played this boss fight, I just kept dying because the tower kept collapsing and I couldn't do anything about it, because the game doesn't tell you to that doing that with the tower heals it, and they really, really should do, because it's kind of important. Also, Gagujine's just really irritating in general, because it's somewhat difficult to kind of read him, and I don't know why, but frequently the Unite Guts doesn't quite do full work on him. Thankfully, when he does this attack, it's a lot easier to avoid, and very, very, very easy to deal with, because you've just got to cut the rope. I mean, stuff like that makes sense and doesn't need to be. You don't need to really be told what to do. But then you have like the tower, which is integral to this boss fight. There's also the fact that it just takes a long time and is just generally a pain. Now, whenever that happens, create a large Unite Whip and just stand there. And you will be able to cause massive damage to Gagujin here. It's another of the instances of the character turns up and the game doesn't tell you what that is meant to do, but thankfully it is... once you know what you're doing, it's reasonably okay to deal with, which I'm quite grateful for. Now I think... part of the reason that I don't like this fight so much is because I suck at it. The other part is because it's the only boss fight in the game that features this tower aspect and has the entire boss fight in this tower thing. So it's just very, very icky. And also it's not that epic in comparison to Orochi. It's like Orochi was amazing because it was over the top and ridiculous. This just isn't quite as awesome. I mean, the one thing that I will say is that thankfully, as with pretty much every single fight in the game, once you have gotten past Operation 5, everything gets a lot easier and more fun, because you can unlock a skill, well, it's a custom block called Hero Time, which is essentially the same as Witch Time in Bayonetta, and obviously anything that does that is just wonderful. It's probably one of my single favourite mechanics that have ever been created in a video game, because, like, seriously, that thing is useful. Also, when you're kind of trying to cock that up to throw it, make sure that you do Wonderliner a few times, because otherwise it won't go, basically. The other thing that's infuriating about this fight is that it's kind of... there is literally no way to avoid Gagujin harming the tower in any way. You can block some of his attacks, but you certainly can't block them all. Also, I'm pretty sure at this point in time I am meant to be destroying his hand, but in the end it was just like, right, just go for the head. The hand doesn't seem to be getting him off, because when he's kind of tugging on the side of the tower, if he gets through with doing that move, then it's an instant KO. Another reason to detest this fight. Thankfully, the damn thing's over. And there's the ever wonderful table's turn. Ah, it's so beautiful. Now, this is really reminding me of Bayonetta's torture attacks. I think that was probably the intention. Because Pink very much does have elements of Bayonetta's character. I mean, even in her introduction, she does the Bayonetta pose. So there was a moment where you had her back to the screen, and that was the pose of Bayonetta in the Japanese cover, which I just find to be really awesome. Although obviously the fact that Pink has a whip isn't very similar to Bayonetta, although Bayonetta does have Kulshadra, but she's much more inclined to Scarborough Fair, really. So, now that we are here, this thing can't do anything to us, so let's destroy it with everything we've got. Take that, Gagujin. Don't want to see you bothering us again, okay?
I'm lowering the hook. Grab it, Red.
Now, I believe that may also be the possible quick time event for the Sylvia conversation. Still not 100% sure, but it's either that one or the one earlier, if you were wondering. Won-stoppable! Literally, kind of... Oh dear. I was about to say, I can't help myself from just going wonderful, Won-stoppable whenever that happens, and then I couldn't follow through because of just the tickling at the... Oh. Seriously, this game is just too funny.
The bigger they are, the more fun they are to toy with.
Quite right, Pink. Although,
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
can't say he was particularly fun to deal with.
Your plaything.
When I said toy, I meant destroy.
Merci, madame. Operation 002 complete. Blossom Tower communications restored.
Team, you've done an amazing job against incredible odds, but now is not the time to rest on your laurels. We've got a lot of data to comb through if we're going to predict where they'll strike next. Back to the ship and remain on high alert.
Roger. Wonderful 100. Let's head home.
Roger.
And so, that's Operation 002 complete, as Alice said. We've got the "You Sunk My Giant" bottle cap, which is quite awesome. Also a gold. I will happily take that. I did a lot better than I had done, because I had to actually do this fight at least twice to get a run, because of that damn tower.
Wonderful 101!
Like, seriously, I hate that tower with a passion. And I died, and I was just like, no! I was doing so well! I thought I'd improved, and I have, but not to the extent that is required, really. Now, Unite Tombstone is rather helpful for kind of ending combos. I really should have kind of left it and bought Speed Charge, but oh well. Let's move on to Operation 003. Woo!